Morris here. Welcome to the Country Jazz Lick of the Week. This week we're going to be taking a look at a great Buddy Emmons lick. If you're interested in learning more Buddy Emmons styled country jazz guitar or just kind of steel guitar jazz in general, I highly recommend that you check out my steel guitar jazz transcription pack and free online lesson series. The links for those will be in the description below. So we're using the tune Panhandle Rag as our way to demonstrate this lick. We're going to be in the key of E, and the lick that I want to focus on is a lick that he does often to precede the 5 chord in any given key. So we have this kind of idea where we're approaching the 5 chord, which is the B in the key of E, and we want to set up the 5 chord with the 5 of the relative minor to the 5 chord. So we would have that as a 2 minor, the F sharp minor, which precedes the B7, right? If we look really closely at these two chords, they're very similar, right? If we just play an F sharp minor, we have F sharp, E, A, and C sharp. And then if we play a B9, we've got F sharp, that's the 5th in the bass. We've got the D sharp, and then we have the A and the C sharp. So all the same notes just in those two chord grips except for one, right? So we can see how that just is an extra color note. So to get into that, we see the relationship between those two. We then want to see or find what precedes the F sharp chord. And the 5 of the F sharp, if we just count it on our fingers, right? We have F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, and then B, and then C sharp. So we have the C sharp chord that's going to precede the F sharp. So I find that on my guitar, right? This is B, just move it up a whole step, and I have C sharp. Now what he'll typically do in imposing this chord is he'll make it a C sharp, not a 9, but a sharp 9, right? The Jimi Hendrix chord. And he'll also put the 5th in the bass rather than the 1st. So we'll just move our middle finger over and we've got G sharp, E sharp or F, B, and then E again, and that's working as a sharp 9. So that would be like a D double sharp, right? This is the 9 here. And so that's kind of how we build up the lick. Now the lick itself is this kind of what I call like a bass drop into this chord. So what we're going to do is start on our B here, and we're going to work down and go from B and slide to our G sharp and then play the chord. So we want to do that as we're approaching the 5, right? So I had in my little introduction here, we have this to the A chord, E chord, now into that C sharp chord, okay? And that's preceding the 5, and then after that I come up to my 5 chord here. I'm going to play the F sharp minor, which again, we talked about how it's within that 5 chord. It is the 2 minor to it. And then we have the B13 chord right there. And this is all built out of that large B chord here between the 7th and 9th frets. So again, we're just kind of like zooming in into that chord and finding the different extensions and colors of it. Don't think of them as two different things. Think of them as kind of together, right? We've got the F sharp and then the B. So this is functioning, the C sharp, right, in the key of E as the 6th chord. So what we're doing is playing a 1 to a 6 to 2 and a 5. A very standard cycle in Western swing and jazz. So 1 to 6, so E to C sharp. The C sharp is the 5 of F sharp. That's our 2 minor. And then the F sharp is the 5 of B. That's our 5 in the key of E. So it's a cycle of fifths, just one chord resolving into the next, starting with that 6th. Okay, so that's the idea. Whenever you're looking for kind of these 5 chords to precede another 5 chord, first find the chord itself, and then take the chord and make it into a 9th, make it into a sharp 9th, and then if you can grab a lower bass note like the 5th, or generally just whatever is the lowest note that you can grab that, and then lead it in on your lowest string to get that kind of bass drop sound, okay? And then later on in that little demonstration, I also did it over the 5 chord at the turnaround. So we have this, we're at the 2 minor, over the 5. This is all 1. And there's a quick 5 at the end of the change. So what I did was I came up. See this? We've got the 5 chord, right? The B7 is right here. And so all I'm doing here is taking the B7 with the extended 13, that's the G sharp, and I'm adding in the C on the low note. That's the flat 9, right? This also looks like an F7 chord. There's a little more going on here. This is called a tritone substitution. We'll talk about it in later videos. But same thing. I'm looking at for my target note, and then I'm adding in that low bass note. So I have this, and then I'm moving it down to the B7 sharp 9 that's down here, right? And I can again play the F sharp, or I can even play the F, because they are related to one another in that tritone substitution. So if we put that in context again, we'd have something like, and then I'm just going to work right back into my E chord. So all together, kind of taking those ideas and playing it one more time so you can hear it in light of that explanation. I'll play it one more time for you. Thank you everyone for watching. Please check out the steel guitar jazz series I did in the description below, and I'll see you for our next country jazz lick of the week next week. Thank you.